Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, classic lesson known classics. This is episode number 2918 and double shot number 2812. Is that correct? Yes. Alright, so we have two more books here. One is an trade film. I do have volume 4. I had ordered it. I'm going to hopefully get it soon. But I got volume 6 here. We have Venom volume 6, Infiltration, which collects Venom. I believe this is volume number 6, I think it is. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's 6 issues. 2630. Yes, it's basically Black Widow who's got a symbiote now. Yeah, and anybody see it's like, wait, what, really? She's got a symbiote now? Yeah. So we have two writers here. We have Torun Gerbuck, who does 26, 28, and the last two issues, 20 and 30, Al Ewing. People working this book, I'm not many people working. I'm not anybody working this one. The writing artwork's done by Julius Into does 26, 28, with of course Rafael Panevido, who does 27, 28 with that first writer. He does basically the 130 with Kafu, who does the 29, 30. So we open up with the Black Widow talking to someone called No Name, and of course she takes him out. And it seems a little similar to what happened for Avengers 1. Then we see, looks like Venom's hive, where we see Venom talk with Toxin, and then we see the Widow, Black Widow symbiote, which by the way she does have a mini series called Widow Venomous. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have Dylan swinging around still with a chain around his arm. Yep. So, and then he comes to presumably his home. And he's like, "I'll get the cookies." Their cookies? No. Oh, where's the other one? Toxin on his way. And then she's like, "You're Eddie Brock's son, Dylan. Where's Eddie?" Not here. And we see he's got a cut in his face. Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing is like them working together. And I'm surprised he doesn't know the fact how pretty she is. Yeah, Dylan is a teenager and does not know the fact he's there with a hot woman. Like the Black Widow, of course, they work with the new Toxin, who's a young kid. And she's got a symbiote too. I mean, these people know as these, and his kids killed by these people. Oh, I think they work for Alchemex, I think it is. So, then Toxin Brew is taken away, and then we see Sleeper. Yes, Sleeper's in the book. Sleeper, in case you forgot about this character, technically this character is the son of Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote. Yes, which makes this symbiote Dylan's half-brother. Yes. At one point, Dylan was the host of Sleeper, and then Dylan became host of the symbiote. So, then of course, Toxin does his own thing here. This Toxin here is not the original Toxin. The original Toxin host disappeared from comics. Don't know what happened to him. Yeah, after his miniseries wrapped up, he just stopped being Toxin for some strange reason. And then Eddie Brock was Toxin, and then it was some teenage girl, and now this is this other kid who got it during the whole Extreme Carnage storyline. Yeah, so oh yeah, the story is called State of Grace, and this story wraps up issue 30. Which I do like the story here with this one. Now, a friend of mine basically is not a big fan of this run because it's a bit confusing. Well, that's because basically it seems like it has two different writers focused on two different people. It's like Eddie Brock and Dylan, both stars of this book, but they're two different places. So Dylan is staying with Flash Thompson, and then we lead into, we see this guy here, who looks like a character created by John Hickman, even though Hickman had nothing to do with this guy. You don't think because of the symbol on his chest. And we see these symbiotes who look like freaking xenomorphs. Yes. Which Marvel can legally get away with doing this because Disney owns Fox. If this was prior to 2019, Marvel would be sued over this. Of hacked out. These creatures look way too similar to xenomorphs. But the thing is, I don't think Fox even cared the fact that there's a whole alien species based in the xenomorphs. The Brood. I don't think they cared. Because the thing is, I think they copyright the design. I think that because the Brood are inspired by the xenomorphs, they're not carbon copies of the xenomorph. That's probably the reason why we never got sued by them. These people, this whole two issues, just focus on editing, and then we see the Kang the Conqueror. Yes, the Kang Conqueror is here, who fights these other people. And then we see Dylan's son, who's known as Codex in the future, harmed, and then of course basically, yeah. Oh, and then we see the Rosebud 2, basically Kang's ship. And that's a standalone. I thought it was 2 parts. Like standalone initiative. And back to Eddie for, he's like, I'm the King of Black. I'm Eddie Brock. And then this other guy just rips off his head. Yeah, I know. Okay, and he proceeds to squash Eddie Brock, and then, well, he's not dead. Don't worry. Eddie's got the symbiote. Yes. It's fun these other creatures per se. And it probably looks like the creature that he just met, just previous issue, he gets killed off here. And then it's like, and then we see that Cleus Cassidy is back. His personality is after killing all Venom versus. You're right. It's anticlimax. He's wrong. Brock. Yeah. I say you murdered your boy. I say I murdered your boy. Dylan's dead. You're next. Yes, it's the Verge King of Black for Carnage. Interesting. I do like this. Personally, I think Dylan's storyline is quite interesting. And Black Widow will get her own miniseries as, well, host of a symbiote. Fairly recent this happened, but good book overall. Next up we have is the final trade for Cable Volume 2. Yes, I fell on my hands this thing. Now, I own pretty much this whole volume, except this one trade, which collects Cable Volume 2, Issue 16, and the Cable King Size Special. Spectacular. Written by, you may not hear this right anymore, Dwayne Straczynski. But the artist still technically does basically some work here. Nowadays, Arrow 11, she does some work. We also got artwork by, Michael Labby and Ken Lashley. So, in the main issue, you just have Cable in the future where he runs into Bishop, who's got one arm, of course. Then we have, where in the present, we have Scott with Emma, and then the whole thing with Wolverine, we see, I think they're in Utopia, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Utopia. And then we see, looks like, well, Warbird and Warblade, and I think that's Laura there. Yes. What is the purpose of the scene here? Well, basically, then we have Cyclops wearing a Dazzler shirt. Now you might be curious though. Did Cyclops was he ever tracking Dazzler? No. Oh, let me make a remark. Arm, and then we have Cable being confronted by. Yeah. So then we have one point of Cable look like he's really thin, he looks like he's like the Terminator in this panel here. We get flashback when he was brought to the future during the days of X-Force. Then we have Messiah Complex flashback, and Like apparently they put a crib together for Hope Summers, who's actually not low. And you have Cyclops going back to the Xavier Institute, which has been destroyed, and then we go to the future, where he's like basically still on the run and do various other stuff. Come on the mountain, and then we come to the king size Cable book. Yes, they put this between issue 6 and 7 for some reason. I don't know why. And in case you're curious, though, was this like one of the only like? Did this volume technically have an annual? It did, except it was one with Deadpool. Yep. So yeah, mostly with Cable and Hope and Bishop's here too. Still chopping forward through time. And Bishop himself's getting hunted too. It's a very interesting story for this one. It's a whole giant-sized book, and then we cut to issue 7, where he's confronted by X-Force. Yeah, Bishop is confronted by X-Force. And you're thinking, wait, is this before the Messiah War story? It is. Yeah, where it's just X-Force here. Oh, it's Warpath, excuse me. Yeah, and by the way, these issues are 125 to 129. Yeah, and of course they deal with him there, and then he's like briefly held prisoner because he's back in the present for some reason. Of course, you have Cable growing up, and then, well, if Cable marrying this woman named Hope. Yes, yeah, he's with this woman named Hope, who's kind of like Hope's adopted mother. Yeah, she's just here for a few issues. She's one of Cable's many wives he's had over the years. In case you're curious, how many times has Cable been married? This actually was his second wife. His first wife was Ilea Dayspring, and she died in the very first Cable comic ever released. But at least, well, in case you're curious, was she only around for one issue? She was only dead. She was only dead. She died in her debut appearance, but also but she's seen flashbacks. Yeah, she was kind of brought in as a flashback character in the pages of Cable of X-Force Volume 5. Yeah, and Hope is basically here. She just hanging out in the book for a few issues before she's ultimately killed off. Cycle of Home Life, and still good stuff here. I enjoyed this book. Bitch eventually escapes, and eventually they're only with the roaches they took over the country, and a lot of really good stuff here. I enjoyed this book. I give this book a 9 out of 10. Yes, and in case you're curious, what happened next right after this story? Was it Messiah War? No. It was just a couple of standalone issues. And then it was Messiah War. It was like Wasteland Blues. Yes. Messiah War was the very next thing that came out. It was like not like it was not immediately per se, but it was like not long after this that they decided to. Now the trade paperback for Messiah War does not collect the times in life of Lucas Bishop. Yeah, it doesn't collect that. I'm not sure exactly why it's not collected, but it's not. I would have thought it was, but it isn't. Now, for the 2 books right after this crossover, Cable managed to last for about 9 more issues before ending. X-Force managed to last for, I think it was like 12 more issues. Yeah, Cable managed to last. Now, X-Force managed to last for 12 more issues. Cable managed to last for another, well, technically 9, because the volume itself ended with issue number 24. But 25 was basically Deadpool and Cable. But here's the weird thing about it. It was, the story-wise, it was set just after the events of Messiah Complex number 1. You're like, that's kind of weird. Yes, it is. Yeah, but technically when that issue was released, like, basically 24 was released in March 2010. This was released like the month later. And then they had issue 26 of Deadpool and Cable, released about a year later. Yeah, which Rainski did write these 2 books. Yeah, it's a shame. Now, my guess is probably the reason the book ended was because, and this is my personal theory of why the book ended. I think basically that why it ended after only 24 issues is probably because basically Dwayne Straczynski wrapped up the story he wanted to tell. That's my guess what happened here. It was not due to low sales, no. And what happened, Cable, with this book wrapped up? Well, excuse me. Well, we then had, well, after this book wrapped up, we had Narosha. We had Second Coming, which I believe it was in the final issue of X-Force. I think Cable died. Yes, I believe so. I think he eventually did die in, like, the finale for the story. Mm-hmm. Yes, I believe Cable himself did die. Yes, Cable died during Second Coming. And then he was brought back about 2 years later in the events of the X-Men miniseries Avengers Extinction, which was brought back there. And then after that miniseries wrapped up, he didn't do anything for about a year. And then they launched Cable and X-Force. Yeah, which, good title. Dwayne says can write that one with somebody else. And then we had X-Force. It was X-Force Volume 4. And then, of course, the book ended. You're thinking, okay, what happened after that? Well, then we had, I think Secret Wars came next. It was like not long after that because we had another volume for X. We had, like, the book only lasted 15 issues. And you might be curious, though, what the heck happened to Cable after that storyline wrapped up? Well, then there was the Split Second miniseries. And then he became part of Uncanny Avengers. Yes. That's literally what they did after the book wrapped. Like, seems like as soon as the book wrapped, that's pretty much what they did with him. Yeah, it's like at the Split Second, he basically, like, well, he appeared in the first opening issue. So he basically later popped up in Uncanny Avengers, which he was there for some of the volume, but not all of it. Yeah, he was there pretty much the whole volume when Duggan wrote the book. Yeah, once Gary Duggan left, and then he got another book. Yeah, he got another book right after Gary Duggan's run ended. Volume 3. Yeah, which at first were by James Robinson, this book. Yep. And then he left after only 5 issues. Yes, and then he got replaced with Ed Bronson for a few issues. And then, like, the final issues, he was also appearing also Despicable Deadpool as well. And then after having only 5 issues of Ed Bronson read the book, with issue 155, he got away with Zach Thompson and Lloyd Nether, which basically their run was simply put, fill in the gaps in Cable stories. That's kind of basically what the final arc was. Of course, he also appeared occasionally like some other books. And then he got killed off Extermination. Had a kid version of him pop up for the next 2 years. Actually, for the next couple years. And, of course, he also did a volume under this. Written by Gary Duggan, of course. Which had amazing as by Phil Noto. And then toward the end of the book, the Kid Cable character died. And then like the real Cable, and he got part of this crossover with Sword and Guardians of the Galaxy. He got wrapped up in that. He's been very sporadically. He did get another mini-series under Fate of the Seas. The guy who wrote the original writer for his first Flame. And I think that's mostly been, he's been mostly appearing sporadically since then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did draw X-Men Red. Second volume. And his most recent book he's featured was X-Men Air Apocalypse. Yeah, that was the most recent miniseries he was involved with. Which the last issue came just this past July. Yes, just this past July. That's when they, came out with basically that was the most recent comic he appeared in. What about Hope Summers? What happened with her right after this book wrapped up? Well, at the Second Coming, they later launched the Generation Hope book, which lasted for 17 issues, and then the book ended because of Schism. And then she joined X-Force, and then after the book ended, she did nothing. Let me repeat that. She did nothing for 2 years. She wasn't seen again until that last arc for Cable Volume 1, the renumbering for Legacy. Actually, it was like 3 years. She did practically nothing. No appearances by her. What happened to her? No one knows. She just disappeared. And then they kind of reconciled because of what happened there. And then, I know next was Extermination, but she didn't do very much after that. I mean, then she became a key player in the Krakoa stuff, which was the 5, where she was basically in charge of resurrecting people. And her appearances were very sporadic. There was nothing for her to do in that period of time. I mean, here's the thing. From the start of Krakoa up until it ended, she was getting virtually almost nothing to do. I mean, what was she there for? Reviving dead people who just died. And it happened very occasionally. I would say the most primary book she featured was Immortal X-Men. But that's been it. I mean, at least Cable has done stuff since then. But she? Nope. She's done practically nothing. Aside appearing in some group books and, nothing else. She's not in any team. For the past 6 years, she wasn't a regular feature in any book except for the only book she was featured in pretty much almost the entire series was Immortal X-Men. And that was it. She was featured in no other book. And you might be curious, though. Excuse me. Is Hope Summers featured in any other book? Featuring anything currently? The answer is no, because they killed her off in X-Men Forever. Yep, they killed her off. Why they killed her off? I don't know. Like, though she was also featured in Rise of Powers of X. But yeah, she got killed in the final issue of X-Men Forever. Now, as for why they said I killed her off for, I have no idea. It's like, yeah, let's have Karen Gillan kill off a good character like Hope Summers. And then her appearing in Rise of X-Men 5 as a flashback character. Yeah, she does not get brought back. She's dead. Yep, she is dead. You would have thought, though, that she would play a role in the current books. Nope, she's not featured in anything because Marvel writers have no plans to Hope Summers, sadly. Yep. So yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do the dislike button. I'm just gonna go ahead and watch One Piece next. Okay? Next view. Bye.